our jobs. Alaska's natural resources provide for us. I'm Mary Peltola.
We are a resource development state. We're a resource extraction state. We always have been. That's how we pay our bills, is through oil.
Alaskans know what we need and are fighting for it. And I'm running for Congress to make sure the federal government is working with us and not against us. That's why I approve this message.
Stay informed with Alaska's news source everywhere you go. You're watching Alaska's news source.
Good evening. Today, a major announcement that the Biden administration plans to pardon thousands of people convicted of simple marijuana possession under federal law.
Black and brown people are arrested, prosecuted, and convicted at disproportionately higher rates. So today, I'm taking 3 steps to end this failed approach. First, I'm announcing a pardon for all prior federal offenses for the simple possession of marijuana.
Now, Biden went on to outline other steps of his plan, which includes having his administration review how marijuana is scheduled under federal law, which currently classifies marijuana as a Schedule I drug. That's the same classification as heroin and LSD. The pardon will forgive those with prior federal convictions for simple possession of marijuana. And as for the Alaska Marijuana Industry Association, it says it's a step in the right direction.
If they had a federal conviction and that was what was showing up on their background check when they were applying for jobs or housing, and they had a federal conviction that is no longer going to appear, that absolutely will change the trajectory of their lives. They will have better access to jobs and housing.
Well, Biden also said that he encourages governors to take similar action at the state level. A statement from the office of Governor Mike Dunleavy today says, quote, "In Alaska, we do not have anyone in jail for simple possession of marijuana. As to the federal action, no executive clemency actions have been taken yet, so it is difficult to comment until we see the actual action take place," end quote. More on this from reporter Georgina Fernandez is available on alaskasnewssource.com. A 24-year-old who authorities believe is responsible for operating an international child exploitation enterprise is in custody now after being arrested in Malaysia. A 13-count indictment for a Bangladeshi man by the name of Zubaidul Amin, who allegedly targeted children in Alaska and across the world, abusing and exploiting hundreds of minors using social media sites such as Snapchat to identify and coerce young victims to produce images and videos of sexually explicit and sadistic content.
We're encouraging any juvenile or any parent or teacher who believes that their child may have been victimized by this individual or any other to report this to the FBI. I do want to note that children in this case deserve a great deal of credit for coming forward under very difficult circumstances.
The District of Alaska Assistant U.S. Attorney says it was Anchorage FBI investigators who were able to tie together the threads of reports from across the U.S. and around the world to identify Amin. If you have any information regarding Amin's activities or something else you think may be relevant to this, you are asked to contact the FBI. That can be done by dialing the number on your screen, 800-CALL-FBI or 800-225-5324. And tonight, an update on the closure of the Glen Highway last night that we told you about here on the Late Edition. Anchorage police say that was a deadly incident that shut the highway and forced inbound drivers to take a detour at the Boniface exit. 2 people were inside an orange Chevrolet when the vehicle struck a man on the highway. That man, a pedestrian, was said to be crossing the roadway on foot. He was taken to a nearby hospital where he was pronounced dead. And if you want to learn more about any of these stories, you can download the Alaska's News Source news, weather, and video on demand apps. Just follow the QR code on your screen to learn how. You can also check out smartphone app stores for all 3. So Jackie Purcell has been tracking storms and the aftermath of them and a swing in the weather to come through South Central this weekend. What do you have for us?
A lot going on. North and West Alaska still dealing with the latest storm in South Central. We'll be seeing some changes too. So the biggest weather impacts will be from high winds over the north and western portion of the state, pushing waves up and onto shore. And in Utqiagvik, the water was reported on some roads tonight, and a house reportedly lost its roof. A high wind warning is remaining in place for gusts to 60 miles per hour. Then back into South Central, rain is angling into to Prince William Sound, and clouds are also approaching the region from the west. Our forecast shows the showers entering the region from north to south, Anchorage right in the middle, and the bigger rain event for us Saturday by yet another low that churns north to Alaska. That is when the storm system, after that storm system finally moves east, cold air follows on Sunday, and that could trigger some snowfall in some higher elevations. Meantime, we'll still see a mild Friday here into the Anchorage area. Anticipated high temperature of 53, and Saturday, rain as well as rain showers lasting into Sunday. Cooler temperatures to follow next week. I'll have more on the storm system currently still churning over the northern part of the state and our statewide forecast coming up.
Well, here in Anchorage, the principal at Chugach Optional Elementary School says 5 of the school's bikes were stolen over the weekend. And though a police report has been filed, only 1 bike has been found so far. Lexi Alverton tells us how the theft of these small bikes will have big impacts on students.
On Sunday, 5 Anchorage School District bicycles were stolen from Chugach Optional Elementary.
Some people had broke into our the Anchorage School District bike trailer that was here at the school and took 5 bikes.
One of the stolen bikes was found by the north side of the school by a staff member on Sunday, and by Monday, they realized the bike trailer had been broken into. The school says it uses these bikes for a variety of things, but mainly they help give students the experience of riding a bike and to learn bike safety.
These are important because they travel throughout the entire Anchorage School District to all the elementary schools during the fall and spring periods when kids can ride bikes. They're used in PE to give kids exposure to riding bikes. Not every child in the Anchorage School District has access to a bicycle. So it teaches them, the fundamentals of riding a bike, but we also teach bike safety with this program too.
These bikes are designed for students who are in the 2nd to 6th grades. Principal Joel Akers says it was surprising to him considering it's a well-lit and secured campus with lights being shined onto the campus 24 hours a day.
I for certain think this is going to impact the students. Right now we have at least 4 kids who don't have access to a bike when they're at school, or we're at least short 4, so that has a potential impact that's pretty powerful.
But that didn't stop the thefts. He says he believes it will in turn impact every elementary school across the district. So what can you do to help? Keep an eye out.
And a lot of them are green, but they can come in some different colors like orange or red, but the idea is that it's the shape of the bike that is really distinctive, and that they all say Bike Friday on them, and that they have OSADA, which means one size adjusts to all.
If you see one of the bikes in the Anchorage area, call the Anchorage Police Department and report it. Also, if you notice things that don't look right around your schools, especially overnight or on weekends, you can call 311 as a prevention measure. It can never hurt. Lexi Alverton, Alaska's news source.
Again, the school district is asking that you please be on the lookout for these bikes. If you see them, call APD. There are still 4 of them that are missing. Well, the University of Alaska Anchorage's television studio is getting an upgrade.
We've been in this space for more than 40 years.
The school's journalism department is moving into the art department on the opposite side of campus. It is paired up with the art department for a graphic design program, and the move also means a new studio for students, and that means updated technology.
The journalism department is taking a step from, I would call it even the original bag phone, cell phone, to an iPhone 14, basically overnight.
Without a dedicated studio in the arts building, they had to get creative and build a studio in a box. But the new technology will replace mostly outdated technology. Some of it is older than the students using it. The studio build was possible because of a grant from the Atwood Foundation. And for the full story, including more of the history of this, from journalist Eric Soul, you can check out alaskasnewssource.com. Well, still ahead on the late edition, Jobless Claims surging suddenly. We'll take a look at this week's job numbers. And when exactly will the application for student loan forgiveness come out? We'll get an answer from the Secretary of Education.
Well, Anchorage saw a nice fall day, and tomorrow is Friday. Our sunrise at 8:21, and we'll see 10 hours, 49 minutes of daylight, and our sunset tomorrow, 7:11.
Alaska's news source at 10 is brought to you by First National Bank Alaska. 100 years of helping Alaskans shape a brighter tomorrow. And Bristol Bay Native Corporation. This year we honor the past and imagine our future.
Hey Alaska, Buddy Bailey here. Can you remember the last time you got your money's worth of, well, anything? At Bailey's, you know that you can get the most out of your PFD thanks to our famous Buddy's price. Paired with our PFD special, you can even take 20% off that price on anything from mattresses to home office and 10% off of discounted items. You could even receive a free bucket cooler if you spend $3,500 or more. Make your dollars go the distance this PFD season with your local hometown furniture store.
Imagine our future. How about courageous?
Tradition.
Grandchildren.
Fishing.
Bright. Progress.
Eager.
Blessed.
Thriving.
Our children.
Future generations.
Descendants.
Successful and bright.
Family.
Culture.
More fish.
Loyalty.
Sustainability. Aspect. Or good.
As ASAA's longtime title sponsor, First National is investing in Alaska's youth, our future.
We say win for life. It's developing students as great characters, great community members, great employees, great parents. And the bank has been just really on the forefront of that. We can't thank the bank enough for helping make that happen.
First National Bank Alaska, 100 years shaping tomorrow.
You're watching Alaska's Good News Network.
Our lead story, Rams, and more Rams appearing every day in Anchorage. Not those Rams, these Rams.
We've got new Ram Warlock starting at just $46,275. New Tradesman starting at just $42,710. Ram is J.D. Power's #1 brand in new vehicle quality. And we've got new Grand Cherokee L at just $48,100. Come get yours at Anchorage Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. It's Ram Power Days and Jeep Adventure Days. See us on East 5th.
You're watching Alaska's news source.
A group of soldiers is taking part in a special program started by an Army veteran who saw a need to help prepare soon-to-be vets for life after service.
It's a great program, but not everybody wants to be an electrician, so how do we expand it?
Kyle Kaiser, who helped start a veterans electrical entry program, saw that his work was beneficial, but decided it needed to be expanded. So his nonprofit, Viper Transitions, now connects current service members who are soon exiting the military and veterans with trade training opportunities to help them get the civilian jobs that they want.
The thing that is important to me is that they've had the chance, whether you be a veteran, the distaff side, or whatever, the ability to have a chance to do what you want to do.
And just kept trying to find jobs where I fit in. Because most veterans don't feel comfortable around normal jobs, if you will.
And Kaiser says the program has helped dozens of veterans already. Well, Jackie has a look at the full forecast for across Alaska now. A lot to keep track of for you.
Well, here in the Anchorage area, we're still seeing some pretty breezy conditions, especially in the higher elevations. This is our view from our camera out at Eagle River. You can kind of see these dark shapes. Those are trees, but they're waving back and forth. So the winds are still up, and the cloud cover is still overhead the city. So our current temperature, 54. The winds out of the southeast at the airport location, 13 miles per hour, but those gusts have hit 25, and they're expected to be up to 40 miles per hour along the hillside areas, but nothing like what they have seen in Cape Lisburne and Savunga. 90 mile per hour wind gusts at Cape Lisburne, Savunga, a 75 mile per hour gust, Point Hope at 70, Shishmaref 50, Ukqiavik 43. We talked about the fact that they have reported in Ukqiavik now some water on the roads as well as a roof off of one of those homes. And there's still some very gusty winds to go through from the Aleutians up the west coast and across the north as we head through the overnight hours. Even around Delta Junction, they've had a wind gust of 58 miles per hour. Now let's talk about this storm system. You can still see the trailing front associated with it as it is continuing to move north. Rainfall making it all the way into the interior. We still see that over southwest Alaska and that approach of rain toward Prince William Sound here in the south central region. Anchorage will stay on the dry side of this. We'll see increased cloud cover on Friday. as a result of that storm system just to our west. And let's talk about continued southerly winds. This is going to continue that the coastal surge concerns with all those warnings and advisories stretching from really the north coast all the way down to southwest Alaska, just a little bit north of the Bethel area. That's where we have in purple a high surf advisory going to a coastal flood advisory. Then we talk about winds, and those are high wind warning status, where those winds gusts could hit 60 to 75 miles per hour. It'll be 40 to 50 mile per hour winds across sections of the Alaska range as an advisory goes now through tomorrow morning. And dense fog, an advisory picks up at 4 o'clock tomorrow morning across southeast Alaska, really stretching from the northern portion of the Panhandle down south to Ketchikan. Drivers beware, use your headlights in that part of the state. There are some rain being reported around the Bethel area, McGrath, but look at those temperatures. They're above freezing all the way into Ukqiavik, right above freezing, just by a degree at Dead Horse. And there could be a mix of rain and snow across sections of the northern slope. It has rained, though, for Cordova this past hour. Otherwise, cloudy skies across much of the rest of the region. That's going to be changing here in the south central area between this area of energy pushing at us and then another area of rain moving through. But it's a third storm that hits southwest Alaska Saturday into Sunday that we'll see some widespread rain, not just for that region, but for the south central area as well. And then colder air streaming in right behind that. We'll get to those colder temperatures here in the 7-day for us locally. But here's a look at your Friday forecast. A lot of that wet weather is still going to encompass much of the state. In fact, a mix of rain and snow over the northern slope, blowing snow at times. Fog as we go to southeast Alaska from 4 a.m. to 10 a.m., back into south central Alaska. We do expect some rain, but for the Kenai Peninsula later in the day, more early in the day for Prince William Sound, and it'll be appearing in the Matanuska-Susitna Valley before it gets to the Anchorage area as well. We expect it late afternoon into the evening with high temperatures staying into the low to even the mid-50s. Cooler on Saturday as that rain comes through the region, tapering to showers on Sunday. Let's talk about these temperatures into the 30s for overnight lows until the last day of the 7-day forecast, when even our daytime highs might not make it to 40.
Well, for the storm that hit the West Coast last month, for those in need of financial assistance, we're going to remind you from time to time because registration is now open, not just for state assistance, but federal assistance as well. You can go to ready.alaska.gov or register by telephone. There's a QR code at the bottom left of your screen and a number coming as well. The operators at the disaster hotline can help you apply and answer any questions you might have about this process. Just call 844-445-7131. Keep in mind, to receive any money for recovery costs, you must apply by the deadline of November the 17th. The death toll from Hurricane Ian has climbed into the triple figures as of today. At the end of last week, the death toll sat in the high 80s. After more dust has settled, search and rescue teams have continued their location efforts. The toll now sits at least 135, the highest from any Florida storm since 1935 per NBC News, and more than 5 times the U.S. death toll from Hurricane Andrew, which was a Category 5 storm 30 years ago. At least 128 of the deaths from Ian have come in Florida. Some are also out of the Carolinas. And after its landing there, Ian was downgraded to a post-tropical cyclone. Coming up on the late edition, OPEC Plus, the organization of the petroleum exporting countries, which includes 13 OPEC members, as well as a group of non-OPEC oil production countries, is planning a production change. How the drastic cut could affect you.
The new iPhone 14 Pro is here.
She's gonna love it.
Get up to $1,000 off iPhone 14 Pro, featuring the most advanced smartphone display ever and the new dynamic island.
Thanks for the gift. You too. You know me so well.
Powering connections on Alaska's most advanced network.
Hey, you, superhero. Are you ready? It's time to act. The flu is here and gaining strength. But you have the power to protect. The superpower, that is, to fight back. Be a superhero Keep your defenses strong by getting the flu vaccine. Learn more at vaccinate.alaska.gov.
This message brought to you by the Alaska Department of Health.
I've served for 36 years in the Coast Guard and commanded our operations across Alaska. I'm voting for Lisa Murkowski because she's an effective leader who gets results. Lisa led the charge to pass the bipartisan infrastructure bill that made historic investments in our Alaska-based Coast Guard. That means more cutters, better housing for our coasties and their families, leading to a safer and more secure Alaska. Lisa Murkowski is for Alaska, always.
I'm Lisa Murkowski, and I approve this message.
With the promise of student loan forgiveness, thousands of Americans are set to see a little bit of relief when it comes to the pressure of bills. Jamie Bittner out of our Washington News Bureau spoke to the U.S. Secretary of Education about when and where people can go for information regarding the program's process and what to look out for to avoid being scammed.
I asked the U.S. Secretary of Education the question many of you want the answer to. When will the application for the president's student loan forgiveness drop? More than 5.5 million people have signed up for the alert, and that has scammers watching too. When is the application coming out?
That's $1 million question, right? We know in October it's going to come out. We're working on making sure we can produce something that the American people will go to and find easy, quick. And you know we're doing well in terms of getting that product ready.
So no official date yet, but Secretary Miguel Cardona says keep your eyes on studentaid.gov. His advice also comes with a warning.
Wait for the information on when to apply. When it comes out, don't fall for any emails that come and say they're connected, that they're going to provide coaching, or for this fee we can take care of it for you. It's all a scam. We're making it clear. Studentaid.gov/debt relief is where you get the information. If you're on a URL and it doesn't have studentaid.gov in it, it's not the right one. Get off of it.
The Biden administration adds you don't need to pay anyone to obtain debt relief. So be wary of people asking for credit card numbers, account information, and passwords. In Washington, I'm Jamie Bittner.
Loan payments were frozen through the end of this year, and the expansion of student loan forgiveness was announced this summer to help benefit individuals making less than $125,000 annually and households with less than $250,000 annually in income. Pell Grant recipients can get up to $20,000 in relief. Other borrowers could get up to $10,000. Well, last week, the number of new jobless claims surged. NBC News is reporting 219,000 initial claims were filed for the week ending October 1st, up by 29,000 over the previous week. That is also a 5-week high, with jobless claims often an indicator of the economy's direction. And paired with inflation, concerns remain that the U.S. is heading toward a recession. Unemployment, however, remains at nearly historic lows. And while some are waiting for student loan debt relief and others are filing for unemployment, gas prices, which were already starting to rise and likely to get even higher in the coming months, with the oil-producing countries in OPEC Plus voting yesterday to reduce production in November. Amy Kiley reports on the economic domino effect.
Obviously, it's not good to have gas prices going up.
What might be less obvious is what other economic dominoes could fall as a result. It starts with the OPEC Plus decision to slash oil production by 2 million barrels a day starting next month. That's more than expected and the largest cut since the pandemic began.
Everything has a price. Energy security has a price as well.
That threatens to increase the cost of gas in the U.S.
Less supply of crude oil equals less supply of gasoline. Less supply of gasoline at current demand levels equals higher prices.
Retailers paying more for shipping could pass on the cost to consumers, and broader inflation could affect interest rates.
When higher oil prices are putting pressure on inflation, the Federal Reserve really has to keep rate hikes going.
These dominoes are starting to fall right before voters head to the polls for the midterms.
It is an inconvenience. It's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's not just affecting me. It affects the whole world.
There's only so much control any American president has over gas prices, but voters blame the people in charge when gas prices go higher.
Some allege the timing isn't a coincidence, but a ploy from the leaders of Russia and Saudi Arabia.
Vladimir Putin and MBS are essentially trying to interfere in our election through these actions using OPEC.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
And some energy analysts say they see reason for hope. They point out the global oil market could be oversupplied until the end of the year, which could weaken the impact of OPEC's production cuts. Well, now to see what's going on in sports, we're bringing in Jordan Rodenberger.
Yeah, Beth, while we anxiously await the state football playoffs, flag teams from around the South Central competing in the first round of their playoffs. Scores and highlights next.
Alaskan Market is back, a celebration of everything Alaska. You'll find a variety of arts and crafts, jewelry, housewares, and more. Support local and start your holiday shopping early with this free 2-day event at the Denina Center.
November 8th is coming soon. Here's 5 tips to make your vote count with ranked choice voting. 1. Only fill in 1 oval per candidate. 2. You don't have to rank each candidate, but it won't affect your first choice if you do. 3. Rank the candidates in order without skipping any rankings. 4. Don't give more than 1 candidate the same ranking. 5. Don't rank a candidate more than once. Learn more at elections.alaska.gov.
It's a showdown in the AFC North as Burrows leads the Bengals into Baltimore to face off against an always dangerous Lamar Jackson. Sunday at 4, right here on Channel 2.
Sponsored by GCI and the Alaska Highway Safety Office.
At Providence Imaging Center, every month is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We're Alaska's first breast imaging center of excellence, having met the highest medical standards of quality and safety. With the latest technology in 3D imaging, your doctor can see breast tissue 1 millimeter at a time for earlier detection of cancer. Schedule your mammogram online at provimaging.com. Providence Imaging Center, Alaska's first choice in diagnostic imaging for more than 30 years.
How was your weekend?
Oh, it was great. I hooked up my new big screen TV.
You know, if it's connected to the internet, you can download the Alaska's News Source app from the Roku store. Type Alaska's News Source into the search bar, select the app, and download. It's that simple.
Well, that's a relief because, I like my appetizer simple, like mozzarella sticks.
It's not that kind of app.
Just because you're not paying for cable doesn't mean you can't stay connected to local news. You're watching Alaska's Sports Source.
Flag football continues to grow each year with more teams and athletes each year creating more talent, which this season has seen a lot of, culminating with the conference championship. No state tournament, so this is for all the marbles. The 2-time defending champions Diamond go into the single elimination bracket with the #1 seed tag hosting Eagle River. Already up 2 scores, Callie Hibbert is going to find Mai Matakai behind the defense in the corner of the end zone for 6 more points. They can light it up, but also shut you down. 0 points allowed in a 34-0 shutout win over the Wolves to move on to the next round. And in a middle seed matchup, #4 West hosting #5 East at the Nest on Hill Crest, so you know it's going to be a good one. Defense, the name of this game. Great flagpoles from both sides and both teams, but the biggest defensive play came on 3rd down with East trying to tie it up late in the 4th. She's going to drop back to pass, but nope. Batted away. The Eagles hang on 7-0. Always a battle when these two schools meet, but makes it that much sweeter when you beat your rival in the playoffs.
There was a lot of built-up, nervousness and tension when we walked into this game, but we just knew, we could play like West is known to play for and come out here and win and play our best, and that's exactly what we did.
But the beauty of sports is the triumph of victory and the agony of defeat. T-Bird season ending tonight. 5th-year head coach Courtney Edwards with some thoughts on his players after the loss.
Well, I'm very, very proud of them. We started off slow, but they progressed and got better as we played. And, I couldn't ask for much more than what they've been given.
Also tonight, South defeated Chugach while Service took down Bartlett. They'll meet next Tuesday with a ticket to the title game on the line, while Diamond and West, a rematch of last year's championship game, meet in the semis. It's going down on Tuesday. It is championship season for all of fall sports, including tackle football, starting playoffs tomorrow. The undefeated Juneau Huskies and their co-utility player of the year, Jarrell Williams, and first-team running back Jamal Johnson will host winless South in the state's capital tomorrow. The entire Bartlett offensive line made an all-conference team. No shocker there, creating big holes for the CIC Offensive Player of the Year, Nico Ale Lafalaula. number 2 Golden Bears hosting number 7 Diamond, and the other co-utility player of the year, Malachi Casey. And we just saw this one in flag. It's East and West taking to the gridiron tomorrow night. T-Birds are the defending champions with something to prove. Meanwhile, Jack Nash, the defensive player of the year in the Colony Knights, will host the Service Cougars in a 3-seed versus 6-seed matchup. And over in Division II, things would have to go terribly wrong for these teams not to meet in the championship game for the 3rd straight time. Undefeated Lathrop and undefeated Soldotna. But the Stars have to go through North Pole first tomorrow night, while the Malamutes have to get past the pesky Chugiak Mustangs on Saturday for them to meet in the championship next week. Another 4 teams in Division III vying for the title, but it looks like it's Houston's trophy to fumble a perfect 7-0 record, including 4 shutouts. They face Barrow, but Homer comes into the playoffs with 1 loss, and they look to play spoiler. They square off against Nikiski on the Spit Saturday. Lots of action coming your way, of course. Highlights and sound bites right here on Alaska's news source. Not quite championship season yet for UA volleyball, but they sure are playing like it. Seawolf Spikers ranked number 9 in the country for a reason. They're doing chores on the road. Clean sweep over Central Washington for their 10th straight victory. Ellen Floyd's 25 assists places her number 2 on the conference's all-time list, nearly 4,400 in her career. Now, in addition to flag and tackle football playoffs, state tennis is going on right now, while cross country will wrap up its season Saturday with the state meet. Great time to be a sports reporter, I'll tell you that much.
Bit of a busy time,
yes, which is
too.
Good. Which is
yeah.
Good.
Well, this Halloween, you can celebrate the kid in you with McDonald's Halloween Happy Meal pails. Jackie, are you into this? Is this a thing that you're about? I mean, it's a little party at McDonald's, I guess.
Well, I don't know if they had Happy Meals when I was a kid, so now I can get in on it.
You can still get a Happy Meal, just say maybe it's for you, the kid in you. McDonald's announced on its social media pages that the pails will return later this month, and it first introduced the set featuring all kinds of characters back in 1986. The company says they'll be back in participating restaurants nationwide starting on October 18th. All right, let's get a last check of the weather. What's going on?
Well, we've got several things going on across the state. First, still looking at those warnings and advisories for winds and waves and even coastal surges along the west and north coast. Dense fog advisory will go into effect across southeast Alaska. We've got that wind situation across the Alaska Range, and in the Anchorage and south central region, pretty quiet for now. Temperatures on the mild side this evening, still into the 50s, 57 here in Midtown. We do have the winds, though. They'll continue to be strongest along the Turnagain Arm area, as well as higher elevations, up to 40 miles per hour. I also want to mention that there's been some sightings of the aurora here locally. So if you get a clear spot into the morning hours before the rain rolls in, you might see some green out there on the horizon. Rain on Saturday.
I did see on Facebook some people saying, hey, we're posted up. Haven't seen them yet, but maybe they have by now.
Getting dark.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.